I'd like to welcome each one here this evening for our Monday, December 15th, 2025 meeting. I'd like to acknowledge the land which we gather as a territory of the Anishinaabe, Ottawa, and Mississauga peoples. Confirmation of the agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby approves the agenda for December 15th, 2025 council meeting as presented. May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, Councillor Van Hitterson, all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interests and the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Consent agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts consent items 4.1.1 and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 4.1.2 to 4.3.8 for information purposes. Before we pull anything, may I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Whitfield, all in. Okay, well, does anybody like to pull anything from? Okay, seeing none. Go ahead. All in favor? Carried. Public meetings, hearings, and delegations. At this time, we have Jasmine Shade from PSD Citywide, presentation of our 2025 Asset Management Plan. She's going to be presenting virtually for receiving the information. We'll just wait for her to get on. You can go ahead, Jasmine, when you have time.
Okay, is my presentation being presented or should I share my screen?
Share screen, please.
Okay, well, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Jasmine Shad, and I'm an asset management advisor at PSD Citywide. And PSD has worked with your team to develop the 2025 Asset Management Plan, which is the focus of my presentation today. Firstly, I would like to thank the township staff for their cooperation and dedication as we worked through this project. Today, I will be reviewing the updates that have been made for this iteration of the AMP to ensure it meets legislative requirements for 2025. And before diving into the specifics of the AMP or Asset Management Plan, I did want to provide an overview and context on the project and asset management in general. Okay, so Ontario Regulation 588 has defined requirements for 3 AMP iterations, the first of which was required by July 1st, 2022, and included measuring current levels of service, asset inventory analysis, current performance of your assets, life cycle activities, and costs to maintain those current service levels, as well as the impact on growth to the current levels of service for core services. Now, the 2024 requirements just expanded on all of that to include the non-core assets. So with the completion of this asset management plan, the township has achieved full compliance with the 2025 requirements, which further expanded the report to include future projections of proposed levels of service. Okay, so what comes after 2025? Now, the regulation requires that all asset management plans be updated once every 5 years, and that council conduct an annual review of its asset management progress on or before July 1st of every year. And also that the asset management policy and plan be posted on the municipal website. Okay, moving on to the state of current infrastructure. Now, PSD and the township staff have worked very closely together to refine the asset inventory in Citywide to ensure that the asset management plan provides a realistic and accurate representation of the current state of your municipal infrastructure. So this included reviewing and updating replacement costs of each asset category. So the replacement costs for each asset category are displayed here on the slide. And as you can see, the total replacement cost of the asset portfolio is about $326 million. So this valuation reflects the cost to replace all of your assets based on the most recent inventory available as of December 31st, 2024. Now, any new assets that have been acquired after the end of 2024 are not included in the current figures, and they should be incorporated in future updates to ensure that the AMP remains current and reflective of the township's full asset base. Okay, so the current condition of the assets is very central to all asset management planning. And as you can see here, the distribution of asset condition by asset category, weighted by replacement cost. Now, collectively, 82% of your assets in North Huron are in fair or better condition. The AMP for 2025 relied on assessed condition data for 83% of assets, and for the remaining portfolio, age was used as an approximation of condition. Now, while age-based estimates are very helpful, having that real condition data is incredibly valuable because it gives us a much clearer picture of how assets are actually performing, and it helps us to make better decisions around maintenance and replacement priorities. Okay, so having your defined replacement costs, the condition of your assets, and identifying any life cycle activities, a long-term capital forecast was developed, which includes both the rehabilitation and the replacement requirements. Now, the graph identifies capital requirements over the next 100 years, and this projection is used because it ensures that every asset has gone through at least one full iteration of replacement. So based on all of those factors, the average annual capital need across your asset portfolio is estimated at $7 million, which is indicated on the chart there by the red dotted line. Moving on to proposed levels of service, just a very quick overview. Current levels of service reflect how each asset category has been performing up to today. And on the other hand, proposed levels of service look ahead and define where the township wants asset performance to be by a future point in time. It is important to note that the regulation does not prescribe specific levels of service that municipalities must achieve. And these proposed levels of service are unique to each community and should reflect resident expectations, council priorities, and of course, your financial capacity. Okay, so as part of the provincial requirements, municipalities must explore different strategies to support their desired service levels over the long term. And to help guide decision-making, we developed 3 different funding scenarios, each reflecting a different approach so that we could analyze the long-term implications of each option. So each of these scenarios have different key risks and trade-offs that were considered. Scenario 1 assumes that you would maintain your current annual spending at about $3.1 million per year. Now, this would be the least expensive option for residents and businesses, but it would result in an increased infrastructure backlog and increase your risk of asset failure, emergency repairs, and obviously the impact to your current service levels. Scenario 2 is essentially the full funding approach, which would provide the highest level of service reliability and long-term sustainability, but it would be an extremely high financial burden on the township and its residents. And scenario 3 was selected as the preferred option, and it was developed by the township defining specific capital investment increases of 5% from the budget for tax-supported assets, 4.5% for annual increases in water rates, and 10% annual sanitary rate increases, all over 10 years. So this approach provides a more manageable increase and is a moderate balance between service delivery and the financial feasibility of it. Your utilities under this scenario will actually become fully funded by the end of the phase-in period, which is a very proactive approach for maintaining those rate-supported infrastructure assets. Now, unfortunately, this will not fully close the deficit for tax-supported infrastructure, and there's a possibility that the backlog for those assets will continue to increase, especially during that phase-in period. But given all of these trade-offs, it's very important to review this approach regularly to assess how well it's working, whether needs or risks have shifted within the township, and whether any adjustments might be required over time. Okay, so to help evaluate the long-term implications of the different scenarios we've reviewed, we utilize the citywide decision support module to model the scenarios. So this tool was very helpful for us to simulate how asset conditions would evolve over time under the various funding levels. Specifically on that slide, it's shown for roads. So the chart illustrates the projected average condition scores for roads over the next several decades for each of the three scenarios. I'll just go over them very briefly. The top line represents the unlimited funding scenario, which would require an average of about $1.2 million per year, and that's just for roads. And that middle purple line is the township defined increases. And the bottom line shows the impact of your current available funding. So essentially, as you might expect, greater investment leads to better outcomes. And based on this analysis, the township defined investment increases represent a balanced approach that would improve the outlook of road conditions, but still remaining within a realistic funding framework. Okay, moving on to the financial strategy. This slide summarizes the three funding scenarios that were evaluated and how each would be funded through taxes and user rates. So scenario one, which would be maintaining your current spending, would result in no increases to taxes, water rates, or sanitary rates. Scenario two represents the level of investment required to fully address infrastructure needs immediately. And this would require very significant one-time increases, 40% on taxes, 10% on water rates, and 40% on 10% on water rates and 40% on wastewater rates. So that would not be considered very realistic or affordable, but it does provide a useful benchmark for understanding the full cost of infrastructure renewal. And scenario three spreads investment over time through those targeted phased increases, and it would require a 1.1% annual increase on taxes, 4.5% on water rates, and 10% on wastewater rates. And again, that's over 10 years. Of course, grants are essential for investment and capital infrastructure, especially during that phase-in period to achieve the proposed levels of service. And the funding framework should also be supplemented by project prioritization and evaluation of the desired levels of service. Okay, so this slide shows the 10-year financial outlook under that financial strategy that was chosen, with available funding for taxes and user rates gradually increasing over time. So important to note, in years where the recommended funding is not required for active projects, those funds should be directed to reserves and carried forward to help fund those capital needs in the future. So this approach improves your long-term affordability and reduces funding volatility and helps that the township, it ensures that the township will be better positioned to address those large projects as they arise. Okay, finally, we can look at some recommendations and next steps. So the township should continue refining its asset inventory in collaboration with your internal departments and stakeholders, and supported by a portfolio-wide data governance strategy to improve data quality and confidence. A regular cycle for updating replacement costs and condition data in citywide is also recommended. And the township should prepare for the ongoing OREG 588-17 requirements in 2025, which includes annual reporting to council on asset management progress and any factors that might be contributing to a lack of progress. And of course, as a living document, the AMP should be reviewed and updated regularly to support long-term planning, with annual budgets including funding for asset assessments to inform future updates. Now, in terms of next steps, council should consider the findings of this asset management plan as part of future budget decisions. And administration should also consider what supports might be needed to improve confidence in asset management planning, whether that's additional staffing or condition assessment guidelines, or any external support that they may need. And finally, it's important to establish a regular process for tracking progress and reporting back to council, just to be in line with the regulation, and obviously with the next update of the asset management plan being due in 2030. Okay, so that's all I had for you today. Thank you very much for your time. I welcome any questions if there are any.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. And at this time, I'll go to council. Are there any questions for Jasmine at this time? Go ahead, Councillor Van Henderson, please.
Thank you, Riefheffer. I see that our information technology is in fair poor or very poor position. So how are you, how do you measure this? And is this just the hardware that we have there, or is that the programs that are steering our computer systems?
I could shed a little bit of light on information technology. The IT asset category is notoriously shown in poor condition, and it's due to the very short lifespan or expected life of those assets, between 5 years for computers, and maybe maximum of 10 years for some other IT equipment. So it's most likely that those assets within that condition outlook are based on age. So if you have any assets, any computers or other equipment that are around 8 years of age and their estimated useful life is 10, they're inevitably going to show as in poor condition. And that may or may not be the actual case or actual performance of those assets.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Wright, please.
Yes, thank you, through Riefheffer. Inflation didn't seem to come into the calculations or presentation at all. So when I'm looking at the various scenarios, right, scenario 1, maintain current spending at 3.1 million, you know, I don't think we would do that, right? I think we would just naturally spend more per year to keep track of inflation. That's what we've been, you know, doing for the last through budgets. So like, I just want to clarify, is scenario 3 increasing capital spending 5% on top of inflation, or is that including inflation?
Yeah, the recommended tax and rate increases do not account for inflation or construction cost volatility. So we do recommend increasing existing or future infrastructure budgets by that applicable inflation index on an annual basis, in addition to that phase in for your deficit.
Okay, so the recommendation is we'd increase our capital spend 5% on top of inflation for that year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from councillors? Seeing none, I'll go to Clerk Lamb at this time.
Thank you, Your Worship. So there is an accompanying staff report following this. So Jasmine's presentation was just for information purposes. So it would be prudent for council to pass a motion receiving the presentation for information purposes.
Okay. Deputy Reeve, Councillor Palmer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to 6.2.1, Finance 2025, 2022, 2025 Asset Management Plan Update. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, seconder. Councillor Whitfield. Okay. Okay, we'll call Francine. I thought she was here. There she is. Come on up, Francine.
So based on the report, are there any questions I can answer?
Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, thank you, Francine. I was kind of hoping that we'd get a bit of a review of it because there was 100, I don't know how many pages, 130 or 40 pages in the report. And it's hard just to put it together. I had lots of questions. I had some bad feelings. But one, I'll just start with a question. The land improvements, cemeteries, I guess, is the bulk of it. I was just wondering what would be the issue there?
Again, most of our land improvement assets are age-based. So, for example, like the statue at the cenotaph or playgrounds, et cetera, are in land improvements, and they're age-based conditions. So, as Jasmine said, it could be at the end of their lifespan, or estimated lifespan in citywide, but based on our annual inspections and our annual maintenance, that lifespan could be expected increase from the expected useful life. So it might not be the actual condition that's portrayed.
Questions? Deputy Reeve, please.
Thank you, Thierry. Yeah, just not being able to quickly find it out of the large report you have there. Could you tell me just offhand if there's any what's in place to do with the IT needing the most amount of assets in the strategic plan is what the township's going to do about that?
So our IT asset category, it is, as Jasmine said, age-based, but a lot of it is based on software. And software, according to the system, has a 5-year useful life, but we use software for many more years than 5 years. So that would put it to a poor condition based on the age-based condition. And a lot of our actual IT assets or hardware, there are like a licensed lease, so we don't technically own them, so they're not in our IT asset database. So then that's an operational cost that wouldn't be accounted for.
Thank you. Any other questions for Francine at this time? Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yes, thank you, through you, Reeve Heffer. I just noticed it looks like the last time we did an update of our storm network was from a 2013 study. I wonder if that would be something staff should reconsider doing, just because due to climate change, there's maybe been change to the climate models, etc., between now and then. So might be worth polishing that off polishing that up and redoing that in the next year or two, because our storm network may not be actually designed to existing conditions anymore. Thank you, Reeve.
Any other questions?
Go ahead, Councillor Palmer at this time, please.
Thank you, Reeve. It's more of just a comment. It's hard to look at this report and think out 5 years, 10 years with our tax base as it is today. And, to save 5%, increase all the time and, well, percentage of, that amounts to what, 1.1% on top of our, whatever tax or levy that we come up with, year after year after year after year after year, that adds up quickly. And like, for me, I can't wait to the well, I don't know if I'll even be around, but 5 years from now, when maybe Hutton Heights is going and the tax base is up, then it'll be easier. But right now, it's difficult. I had a hard time reading the report, just from a feeling standpoint. And I know that as we move forward and basically have to increase our levy due to our assets, we're gonna have to, council's gonna have to be really on top of what else does our levy encompass? It's all our operations, it's administration, it's wages, it's all this stuff. So we're gonna have to be really on the ball, because we just can't let everything else just do its uppity up. And then we deal with asset management as well, because it's a huge part of our budget now. It will be. And so anyways, that makes me feel a little bit better saying it, but it was hard. This was difficult for me. I have trouble with our taxpayers. They're paying enough now, and I feel that they get a good service, but at this point in time, they're paying enough, and to think down the road, it's going to be difficult.
Thank you, Councillor Palmer. Are there any other questions for Francine at this time? Seeing none, I'll go to our clerk.
Through your worship, so the staff recommended motion is there, but I read as follows: that the Council of Township of North Huron hereby receives the report from the Asset Management Coordinator dated December 15, 2025 regarding the 2025 update to the Township's Asset Management Plan, and further that Council directs the Director of Legislative Services clerk to prepare a bylaw for the January 12th, 2026 regular council meeting to adopt the updated Asset Management Plan as presented.
Okay, we have mover and seconder. All in favor? Carried. We'll go to 6.4.1, Public Works 2025-41, tender results for Blythe wastewater treatment plant upgrades. Are there any questions for Director Watson at this time? Councillor Wright, go ahead, please.
Yes, thanks. Through you, Reeve. So I read the report and I read the reasons why we didn't go with the lowest tender, but I didn't, or why we have an out with not going with the lowest tender, right? So I understand that, but I didn't see any in the report, any compelling reasons why we're not going with the lowest tender. It seems like they've got relevant experience and all the other things. Understand there's a question of whether they're self-performing all the electrical or not, but I guess I myself wouldn't see that as a compelling reason on its own to not go with that vendor. So I just wonder if staff could talk to that a little bit more of why are we making the decision to not go with the lowest bid here.
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to Councillor Wright. When we put our tender out, the process is to ask for all the proponents to list what we're asking them to list. And when we go through the tenders and we see that something has been missed or misrepresented, then we can disqualify that tender on that basis. And that was the case here.
Through I know that's the question I asked, so I understand how we can disqualify the tender, but why are we choosing to disqualify the tender? We could save $200,000 approximately if we went with the lowest bidder. So I don't understand. I understand there's a reason why we can disqualify them if we want to. Why do we want to? That's the question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Councilor, Wright, for the question, and through you to members of council. I guess the intent is the integrity of the process. When we put out the bids and tenders documents, we ask for those specific details in terms of who's the contractor, are there subcontractors involved? When those tenders come back, we rely on that, again, legally, so that we can hold them to account. When they responded with that they were going to put all the contracting on themselves, that there wasn't going to be any subcontractor, we reached out to confirm that. And then what they confirmed was that their submission was inaccurate. So in terms of keeping the level of fairness and I guess the openness of our process to each candidate and each potential contractor, is they're following the same rules of the game. When one circumvents those rules, we are now felt behind. We aren't able to compare apples to apples. So we have to actually do extra work, and then not having the details provided even after trying to do that adjustment wasn't fair to the other bidders and tenders who took the extra time to complete that on time and ahead of schedule. We took the courtesy of reviewing all applications and tenders. Having that shortfall again put the report at a disadvantage, and again did not provide the details that the township asked for. So if they said they're going to go to subcontractors, we weren't given the name in time. We weren't told exactly what is the work that the subcontractor is going to do. It was still up in the air at the time of going through the process, whereas everyone else already completed and provided those details so that we can ensure that any contract we go into, our liabilities, insurance coverages are in place, including with the subcontractors who were named in others, but not in this document. So in fairness to all and to our process, we're disqualifying it based on an incomplete application.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for Director Watson? Seeing none, I'll go to Clerk Lamb. I'll ask for a mover first. Deputy Reeve, seconder, Councillor McBurney. I'll go to Clerk Lamb to read the motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the motion is that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives a report from the Director of Public Works and Facilities dated December 15th, 2025 regarding the tender results of the Blythe wastewater treatment plant upgrades, and further that Council accepts the tender bid provided by FinBuilt General Contracting Limited in the amount of $48,966.68, which is a figure inclusive of HST.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. 6.5.1 FR 2025-11 renewal of fire protection agreement with Central Huron. Are there any questions for Chief Crager at this time? Nope. Straightforward. That the Council of Township of North Huron hereby receives the report of Director of Fire and Public Safety dated December 15th, 2025 regarding the renewal of the fire protection agreement with the municipality of Central Huron, and further, that council supports entering into a new 5-year agreement based on updated financial structure as detailed in staff report FR 2025-11, and further, that the council agree to adopt bylaw number 94-25, being a bylaw to authorize Reeve Clerk to sign on behalf of Council of Municipal Fire Protection Agreement between the Township of North Huron and the Municipality of Central Huron at the December 15th, 2025 regular meeting. We have mover, Councillor Palmer, Councillor Van Hitterson. All in favor? Carried. 6.5.2 FR 2025-12 extension of fire protection agreement with Morris Turnberry and ACW Ashfield Colborne Wallinosh. Are there again any questions for Chief Crager? Go ahead.
Yes, thanks, through you, Reeve. So, as an example, we just went through a cross-border servicing agreement for water and sewer, right? And really what that came down to is the approach we took is that residents on either side of the boundary would pay the same amount for water and for sewer, right? And Morris Turnberry is taking the same approach. So nothing about the business directly in front of us today, but as far as the negotiations that are going on with neighboring municipalities, is that the intended approach that staff are taking with those negotiations, that residents on each side of the border will be paying the same amount for fire protection services?
Okay, go ahead, Chad, please.
Through you, Reeve, to Councillor Wright. We're working through the negotiation piece. The plan with the Morris Trimbury and Ashfield, Colborne, Wawanosh was to keep the financial structure the same in Schedule F and just basically update the wording to modern wording. But between myself and the North Huron team that's doing the contract update, we can address those issues, if that helps.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Chief Kreger? Seeing none, may I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, Deputy Reeve. All in favor? Carried. CAO 2025-29 Annual Report on Community Improvement Plan Applications. May I have a mover? Councillor Whitfield, seconder. Deputy Reeve. At this time, we have our EDO to present. Thank you. Do go ahead.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for having me here tonight. The Community Improvement Plan is an important economic development tool for the township that supports local businesses, encouraging private sector investment, and enhancing the overall appearance and the functionality of our agriculture, residential, industrial, and the commercial areas. And today I'm pleased to present our annual report of the CIP, Community Improvement Plan, and I'm going to call it CIP in my further presentation of 2025. So through this report, this report provides an overview of the CIP activity in this 2025 years, including business inquiries, application received and approved, financial impact, and the key outcomes across the township. It also highlights how the program is being utilized this year by the local businesses, not through the downtown area, but across the township of North Huron. The information presented today is intended to inform council and the public on the effectiveness on the program and to support ongoing decision-making related to future CIP funding, program refinements, and the economic development priorities. So we talk about the background. So in the North Huron Official Plan, Section 10.3 identifies goals and policies under the current legislations in the Planning Act for the development and implementation of a CIP. And CIP are adopted under the Section 28 of the Planning Act. And in 2018, the North Huron Council adopted the Community Improvement Plan for commercial facade and for the downtown areas, and also passed the necessary bylaws related to this to designate location in the township of North Huron as community improvement project areas, and we also call it CIP area. And afterward, in June 2019, based on the staff recommendation, we again, North Huron Council again amended the CIP and included the Belgrave area under the CIP area and also the direct grants. So further acknowledgement and the importance of this program, and also action item 1.3 in 2024 to 2027 North Huron Strategic Plan. So council directs the staff to undertake a review for the North Huron CIP plan for its relevancy and the value. So as per the process, last year we prepared the background study. We also conducted the CIP survey and prepared the report. And based on the staff recommendation and the report, the Council of the Township adopted a new CIP in December 2024 to serve a long-term strategy to revitalize the local community. And as a result of Council's direction, so the entirety of the township is now designated as a CIP area. And also we included the 5 more grants. So now there are 7 in total financial incentive programs we are providing under this. And as per the value and the purpose of the CIP in North Huron is to encourage the development and the revitalization of the vacant, underutilized, and inaccessible properties and the buildings in the township. And it also stimulates private investments through the use of financial incentive programs, which we are providing. and it encourages property owners or the businesses, developers to increase the supply and to improve the long-term sustainability and the viability of existing or proposed affordable or attainable housing or multi-use housing, multi-unit housing or rental housing units. It also help us to improve the physical appearance and the economic health of the downtown commercial areas of North Huron. And it contributes to a more attractive and vibrant community that supports local tourism, new residents, and the future investment in the township. It also supports improvement that make building safer, more accessible, and more efficient, which benefiting to the customers, employees, and the local community. It encourages the maintenance and the preservations of designated historical buildings and the historical significant properties. It supports the local, supports the new business and the startups. And it also supports the existing business expansion and the retention in the township. It encourages value-added agriculture activities and on-farm diversified uses, energy conservation, and sustainable initiatives. And moreover, it also creates local employment in the township, and which is contributing towards the positive economic growth in the North Huron. So let's talk about the numbers. So total number of inquiries received in 2025 was 27. So through this figure, we can see that most of the inquiries was received through the Wingham, and we know that the population here are high. So 17 was from the Wingham, and 6 from Blythe, 3 from Auburn, and 1 from Belgrave. But it also highlighted the overall participation from the all businesses across the township. And the type of CIP application inquiries we have received, it's 17 was just for the commercial facade, and 6 was just for the direct grant for structural work, and 2 were related to the commercial facade plus the direct grants, and 1 for the agri-tourism, and 1 for the startup space leasehold. And we have not received any queries regarding the rest of the 3, but during the conversation, whenever we meet to the potential investor, we highlight those supports we provide to them. So that conversation we always do with the potential investors. And in 2025, we received in total 12 CIP applications, in which 7 got approved and 5 got disqualified, or 1 was withdrawn by the applicant, sorry. And among the approved applications, so 5 was for the commercial facade, and 2 were direct grants for the structural work. So if we could see the total project value of the application received, it's over $322,000, and the representative value of CIP fund requested, it's more than 40,000, but it's like 41,348.36 in dollars. And if we talk about the financial summary of the approved CIP application, so these are the 7 applications got approved by the council throughout this year. And we would also highlight that the number 2 project, it's already finished, and we also reimbursed the approved CIP grant to the applicant. And 1 more applicant gonna complete his work. So the total CIP grant approved, it was 27,728.35. And the total project value, if we calculate for these 7 projects, it's over $286,000. And this year, if we talk about the CIP budget approved, it was 40,000, and the remaining budget is 12,271.65. So this year's program inspired over 286,000 worth of construction activity, and improved the overall appearance of the commercial property, supported business retention and expansion, created investment opportunities, and contributed to enhanced community vibrancy. And it created the various measurable outcomes such as downtown revitalization and improvement, and local employment opportunities. More than 6 local job would be created through these projects, and business retention and expansion, accessibility upgrades, increased commercial activities and investment opportunities, encouraged and supported home-based businesses to transition from home into downtown storefronts. And businesses outside the downtown core are also utilizing the CIP, contributing to broader commercial growth and strengthening the North Huron overall economic landscape. And we would like to recommend at the end that maintain the CIP funding in recognition of increasing demand and support the rising number of improvement projects in the township, and continue the direct outreach and engagement efforts to ensure more businesses, landlords, and home-based entrepreneurs are aware of available CIP supports, enhance promotion of successful CIP project to showcase community benefits and encourage further participation, and to continue tracking economic impact and project outcomes to improve reporting, transparency, and program evaluation. That's all from my side today. Thanks.
No questions, but just a comment. Personally, I think the changes we made to expand it right across the municipality as opposed to just being a Main Street improvement have been well received. And so I'd just like to thank staff for that. I think that was a good change that was made to the program. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, through you, Reeve. I know in the Blythe ward, I've personally talked to some of the recipients of the CIP and what they've used it for. And several have gone on to receive awards as to some of the forward thinking that they've placed in using our grant system to improve their businesses and their acceptability and accessibility. I know very little other resources that you would put, for $41,000 and get an 800% return on your of what the municipality is doing. It doesn't take too long of or too short of a drive to go through some municipalities that don't have it or downtowns that don't have it, and to appreciate the shape and the maintenance that our main streets have because of this grant. I just want to congratulate you and commend you on your good work. Thank you.
Any other comments from councillors? Seeing none. We got a mover, seconder, all in favor.
Thank you.
Carried. CAO 2025-30 insurance renewal for 2026. Are there any questions for CAO Santos at this time? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve, please.
Yes, through you, Reeve. Just curious, on a yearly basis, when we update the insurance policy, do we is there an effort to reach out to other institutions to get a like a feeling as to what what's out there? I know I do it with my auto insurance about every 3 years and find that there is quite a difference, or is this process generally just a satisfactory with the system that we have and it's just updated? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, through you, Ruth Heffer, to members of council. Certainly the report that we have presented today speaks to the service we receive from Aon. They actually act as a broker, and they actually go out to different companies and insurance providers for the specific areas, as you've seen in the highlights. So they already do a lot of that homework for us, similar as to what we would do for our home insurance. In terms of for next year, we recognize that the last time a request for proposals that went out for the insurance program for the township was back in 2018. Next year, so the current year upcoming, we'll be looking to put a similar RFP out to go to the brokerages as well as other new insurance providers that are coming onto the line to support municipalities. So again, to ensure that we're up to speed with the new providers and ensure that we cover the information that we have is updated annually from our data and resources infrastructure and assets, and then share that with the RFP coming forward. So next year you'll see a more formal proposal and request to approve a new proposal.
Thank you. Any other questions for our CEO? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Yeah, considering our insured value of, 70 million-ish for buildings and equipment and stuff, 1% increase is pretty reasonable. I was quite pleased to see this report.
Okay, if there's no other questions for our CAO, I'll ask for a mover. Deputy Reeve, Councillor Van Hitterson, all in favor? Carried. CS 2025-19 Belgrave Snow Pitch Tournament 2026 Special Event Requests. Are there any questions for our Community Engagement Coordinator? Seeing none, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Palmer, all in favor? Carried. This time we have one correspondence requiring action. It's 7.1 Maitland Valley Conservation Authority letter. Wawanosh Park Conservation Area closure of campgrounds operations.
Through your worship. So the correspondence is before council. It requests direction from council. So either in the form of agreement to the changes for use, or the default, if not, would be the land reverting back to the township. So if council is acceptable of the proposed changes as outlined in the letter, then you would want to pass a motion indicating as such.
Okay. So at this time, could you read the motion and then we'll go from there, please?
So if council is supportive of the proposed changes, your motion would look like that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the letter from Maitland Conservation dated December 4th, 2025 regarding the closure of campground operations at Wawanosh Park Conservation Area, and further that council hereby agrees to the proposed changes of use as outlined in the letter.
Okay. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Whitfield. Yes, go ahead. Questions?
I was concerned when I read this, because it's been going on for many years, and I've never camped there, so I don't know, have got that experience, but I understand it's been used. So for there to be a termination here, so it was because of a floodplain? Like, that hasn't changed through the years. Sure, weather is up and down, but like, or is it being overused, like vandalism, like were there other reasons?
So through your worship, so Stuart Lockey is here on behalf of Maitland Conservation. So if the Reeve and council are acceptable to it, he could certainly speak to that.
Okay. We'll ask Stuart to come to the podium, please. Okay, at this time, Councillor Palmer put a question to you.
Thank you. So the Conservation Authority did a review of the campground operations this summer, and we looked at doing it to see if it was compatible with the Conservation Authority goals and objectives. So we did that with all of our conservation areas as part of our conservation area strategy that we developed in 2024. So the main concern, as outlined in the report, is that the campground is located in the floodplain. You are correct, that hasn't changed. However, we did updated flood analysis, and the campground can flood up to 3 meters. So that's basically the height of the ceiling in this building. We know through climate change that we're seeing these storms that can come more intense and they're localized. So that created a big concern for the authority. In 2017, we had a flood in Harriston. We probably all remember that. That was in the headwaters. If that was actually centralized over or here near Wingham, it wouldn't give us the time needed in order to evacuate that campground in time. So we looked at the safety of our users and said, we can't see that we can evacuate that campground in a timely fashion if we were to get an intense localized event. So we looked at putting the safety of those users over that campground operation.
Thank you. Any other questions from any counselors? Oh. Do I have a mover? All in favor? Carried. Are there any notice of motions? Seeing none. Bylaws 9.1, bylaw number 89-2025, appointment of committee of adjustment. And I have a mover. Councillor Van Hitterson, Deputy Reeve, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 90-2025, appointment of municipal auditor. May I have a mover? Councillor Palmer, Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 91-2025, land use agreement with North Huron Trail Groomers. May I have a mover? Councillor Whitfield, seconder, Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 92-2025, land use agreement with the Wingham and District Snowmobile Association. May I have a mover? Councillor Whitfield, Deputy Reeve, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 2025, land use agreement with Wingham and District Snowmobile. We just had that one. Bylaw number 93-2025, change order number 1 to the eligible community depot operations agreement with Circular Materials Ontario. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Palmer, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 94-2025, municipal fire protection agreement with Central Huron. May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, Councillor Van Hitterson, all in favor? Carried. Other business at this time? Seeing none. Council reports, Reeves activity, wasn't a lot going on for me the last while, just the Blythe Parade and also for the adoption of the budget, just a few days working with our treasurer Annette there. It went very, very well, and I appreciate the work that she put in that with senior management. So at this time, council member, board, and committee reports. Seeing none, are there any comments by members? Oh, go ahead.
We'll lift the air here. Yeah, the Blythe Santa Claus Parade, enjoyed going there. Felt bad for the poor sods that were delivering candy though. The fire truck was nice and warm.
Yeah, no, appreciate the help that we had from the Blythe Fire Department for sure, and along with Chief Krager. So the next meetings and announcements, next regular council meeting will be held here January 12th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. The next Wingham BIA board meeting will be held on Thursday, December 18th, 2025 at the Hot Stove Lounge at the North Huron West Cass Community Complex. And the next Blythe BIA board meeting will be held on Thursday, January 16th, 2026 at 8 a.m. First floor meeting of the Blythe and District Community Center. Are there any other announcements? Seeing none. Closed session and reporting out for close that the Council of Township North Huron hereby proceeds at 6:59 to an in-camera session closed to the public under section 239(2)(f) and I of the Municipal Act to discuss the following advice that is subject to solicitor-client's privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or board, local board, which, if disclosed, could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position and interfere significantly with contractual or other negotiations of a person, group, or of persons or organization proposed sale of Westerio Power Incorporated. And further, that the CAO and the Director of Legislative Service / Clerk and representative from Wisteria Power remain in attendance. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeves, seconder. Counselor Wright, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break while the Ahead now and have our CAO to report out, please.
We live? Okay, good. Council just came out of closed session dealing with the matters under section 239(2) of the Municipal Act, section F and I, relating to advice that was subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications that were necessary for that purpose in trade, secret, or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information. Further information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which again, if had been disclosed, could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group, or person's organization, which is the proposed sale of Wisterio Power, Inc. At this time, I'll turn over the direction to our clerk to read the outcoming resolution from the direction being provided.
Thank you, CAO Santos. So the proposed resolution before council would be, whereas the municipality, together with the other stakeholders, collectively the municipality, the shareholders, hold all of the issued and outstanding shares, the shares, in the capital of Wisterio Power, Inc., further known as the corporation. And whereas on October 7th, 2024, the municipality endorsed a recommendation of the corporation to begin the process to sell all of the shares, further known as the bid process. And whereas pursuant to the bid process and following receipt of bids from a number of proponents on September 2nd, 2025, the municipality approved the entry by the corporation into a letter of intent, further known as the LOI, with Earth Corporation, further known as the buyer. And whereas pursuant to the LOI, the board of directors of the corporation has recommended that each of the shareholders approve and enter into a share purchase agreement, further known as the purchase agreement with the buyer, a draft of which has having been presented or described to the council of the municipality, which pursuant to which, among other things, the shareholders will sell to the buyer and the buyer will purchase from the sellers the shares, further known as the transaction. And whereas pursuant to the terms of the purchase agreement or as otherwise contemplated in connection with the transaction, the municipality will be required to execute and deliver certain ancillary agreements, documents, deeds, and instruments, either at the time of execution of the purchase agreement or closing of the transactions contemplated thereby, including an escrow agreement and a community involvement agreement, further known as the related agreements, drafts of each such related agreement having been presented or described to the council of the municipality. And whereas capitalized terms used but not otherwise defined herein shall have the meanings ascribed to them in the purchase agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that 1, the municipality hereby approves the transaction. 2, the municipality is authorized to enter into the purchase agreement and each of the related agreements. And 3, the execution and the execution and delivery by the municipality of the purchase agreement and the related agreements and the performance by it of its obligations thereunder, with such deletions, amendments, or additions thereto as the chief administrative officer or reeve or other duly authorized representative of the municipality, further known as the authorized representative, may determine, is authorized and approved the execution of such agreements in accordance with the provisions of the paragraph immediately below, being conclusive evidence of such determination. 4, the authorized representative is authorized and directed for and in the name of and on behalf of the municipality to execute and deliver the purchase agreement and the related agreements with such deletions, amendments, or additions thereto as the authorized representative may in his or her absolute discretion determine, the execution of such agreement in accordance with the provisions of this paragraph being conclusive evidence of such determination. And 5, the authorized representative is authorized and directed for and in the name of and on behalf of the municipality to execute and deliver all such agreements, amendments, instruments, certificates, resolutions, and other documents, and to do all such other acts and things as the authorized representative may determine to be necessary or advisable in connection with the purchase agreement or the related agreements, the execution and delivery of any such agreement, amendment, instrument, certificate, resolution, or other document, or the doing of any such other act or thing by the authorized representative being conclusive evidence of such determination.
Thank you. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve? Counselor Palmer?
Just said there's no audio, just video. Would you like to repeat the resolution?
Oh, did you send that by email?
Yes.
Oh, that was for when we were closed.
Oh, okay, I just got it. So, yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from a little while ago.
Okay, okay.
So who was your
Ye-
mover?
And Counselor Palmer? And now all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 95-2025 conformatory bylaw. May I have a mover? Counselor McBurney? Counselor Whitfield? All in favor? Carried. Adjournment that the Council of Township of North Huron agree that there being no further business before council, the December 15th, 2025 regular council meeting be hereby adjourned at 8:06. I was right. Deputy Reeve? Counselor Wright? All in favor? Carried.
Or back on, but you know,
Yeah.
to come in.